Episode 645. 5 minutes. If you're out of combat, you can drag it out as many times as you need. But now they knew Lord Grimm hadn't logged off. He'd dropped combat and stayed online, as if their pursuit meant absolutely nothing to him. The three of them grew uneasy, scanning the empty reports again and again. Nothing here, nothing there. Their frustration mounted. Watching Deception's relentless pursuit, the three guild leaders' mood was easy to imagine.
What the hell is he trying to pull?
After briefly deciding on a policy not to abandon Deception when he and Lord Grimm split up, the three guild leaders never once mentioned Deception's name in the discussion that followed. Their focus never strayed from Lord Grimm, and the three of them were tangled in a mess of conflicting emotions. Lord Grimm vanished from combat, and they had assumed he would log off immediately, disappointed and furious. But to their surprise, he stayed online, and now that he was still there, they grew uneasy. After all, logging off was the safest and most effective option. The fact that this guy didn't log off really left a bit of a mystery hanging in the air. Yishu hadn't even done anything yet, and he already had the leaders of three major guilds on edge. With no sign of Lord Grimm, and nothing but reports on Deception flooding in, the three of them grew more irritated the longer they looked.
What the hell? Can't even take down a single Deception.
Chen Yehui was the first to lose his temper. The more eager someone was to hunt down Lord Grimm, the harder it was for them to stay calm at a time like this. Poor Deception became his punching bag.
9 suns, golden fragrance, where are your two groups? Why haven't I seen any messages from you two for half the day?
Chen Yehui was calling people out in the guild channel.
We'll hold the south side.
Zhu and Jin Sheng were both core experts of the Jia dynasty, relatives of Chen Yehui.
Still guarding? No sign of him for 5 minutes. Fan out, search, find him.
Looking for Lord Grimm or Deception?
Zhu asked cautiously, a hint of confusion in his voice. The guild leader started by criticizing them for failing to deal with Deception, then shifted gears to call out him and Jin Shang by name, as if blaming them for not pulling their weight. Then he mentioned that Lord Grimm hadn't been seen in 5 minutes, and finally said they should go find him. Nine Yang wondered if the guild leader had lost his mind.
Lord Grimm!
Got it.
The two of them acknowledged the order and immediately mobilized their own teams, spreading out to search the area. Shen Yehui finished yelling at those two, then went down the list, chewing out every single squad leader. The scolded squad leaders turned around and chewed out their team captains, who in turn hurriedly pushed their members to get moving. The Jia dynasty had been thoroughly shaken down from top to bottom. No one dared slack off anymore. Some searched, some scouted, and others were sent straight to take Deception out. Now, Chen Yehui couldn't stand the sight of Deception. It felt like every time he tried to get serious work done, there was always some buzzing fly messing things up. Deception steeled himself to fight through, only to hit an unyielding wall. Pushing to the death didn't mean he had to die for it. Deception was simply more forceful now. Where he once would have avoided, he now forced his way through. Despite pushing so hard, Deception still couldn't break through. Now, battered and bloodied, he was actually drifting further from the northern exit. He realized he was being squeezed toward the western foothills, where his room to maneuver would shrink even further. What should have been a full encirclement is now just a 3-sided pincer. You can imagine how that changes things.
Anyone at intersection 24? Anyone?
The exchange had resumed, and Deception was being backed into this corner. Someone answered. It was Jin Shang of the Jia dynasty. After being yelled at by Chen Yehui, he and Zhu each busied themselves with their own tasks. He had just turned into this area when he received the call.
Deception is heading your way.
Leave it to us.
Jin Shang was a core member of the guild, so she naturally viewed things from a higher-level perspective. Her stance on Deception aligned with the upper echelons. But now that she had the chance, she wasn't about to let it slip by. She'd just gotten chewed out by the guild leader for no reason, and it was still sitting heavy in her chest. But this operation only had 2 targets, so finding someone to take it out on wasn't easy. Since he's right here, I might as well have some fun with him.
Disperse.
Jin Xiang, as the leader of a group, didn't bring just a handful of people. His squad was larger than the others. At his command, the dozen or so men scattered across the 24 intersections in an instant.
Reporting target location.
Someone answered.
Coordinates 3474511.
Clearly, he had been chasing Deception all the way here. Deception was having a rough time of it too. He'd been charging straight through beehives the whole way, never once dropping combat. If he could drop combat, he'd have logged off ages ago. Why stick around and suffer through all this? With the north blocked off, he had no choice but to head south, only to find another intersection ahead. From how long Deception had been running, this kind of situation meant someone was definitely about to jump out and block the way. But this time, the intersection was strangely quiet. Deception wasn't stupid, and the guild players weren't idiots either. Not every ambush at an intersection has to announce itself. That trick isn't exclusive to Jin Xiang. Deception had broken through this kind of deceptively easy intersection 4 times already on his way here. This was the 5th time Deception had run into someone pulling this trick, but this time there was one major difference. Jin Xiang had brought a lot of people. Deception stayed on guard, avoiding a direct charge at the intersection. Instead, he vaulted onto a rooftop, aiming for a surprise attack. But when he leaped down, it was he who was caught off guard. In an instant, 15 people, a full squad and a half, burst onto the scene, boxing Deception in tight. He still seemed to have an escape route behind him, but the pursuers were closing in from the rear. Deception had never truly shaken them off, not once from start to finish.
Where do you think you're running to?
With a force of 1.5 teams in hand, Jin Xiang stepped forward and bellowed at Deception. She didn't have any personal grudge against Deception. She just couldn't find Lord Grimm and wanted to take it out on him. Deception let out a snort, saying nothing more. He swept his gaze across his surroundings, calmly assessing the situation. 15 people had already formed a complete encirclement, a first for him, and they were experienced, layering the trap with precision, leaving just enough gaps to seal off any chance of using Shadow Clone as an instant escape. Deception could no longer escape using that trick. There was no room left for clever shortcuts. Deception understood in an instant. He knew this time it was truly a fight for his life, either cut a bloody path out or die here. This judgment took no more than a single breath. To everyone present, it felt as if Jin Xiang's words had barely faded when Deception suddenly flashed forward, his target the speaker herself. Capture the chieftain to capture the band. That was the logic. Even if subduing the leader wouldn't fundamentally change the situation, they were fighting for their lives anyway. If they couldn't break out, taking down the ringleader was still a win. A flash of steel, Deception moved with blinding speed. But Jin Xiang, a core ace of the Jia dynasty, was no ordinary player to be trifled with. Seeing Deception charge in without a word, he quickly raised his cannon and fired. 3 anti-tank shells howled through the air, streaking toward Deception. In an instant, smoke and fire engulfed him.
Watch out!
Someone nearby cried out in alarm. Before Jin Xiang could react, a spray of blood burst from her throat. The assassin's skill, cut throat.